After this there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, that is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool, and troubled the water. Whosoever then first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there that had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said to him, Will you be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool, but while I am coming, another steps down before me. Jesus said to him, Rise, take up your bed and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said to him that was cured, It is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for you to carry your bed. He answered them, He that made me whole, the same said to me, Take up your bed and walk. Then they asked him, What man is that said to you, Take up your bed and walk? And he that was healed knew not who it was, for Jesus had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward Jesus found him in the temple, and said to him, Behold, you are made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come upon you. The man departed, and told the Jews that it was Jesus that had made him whole. And therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus, and sought to slay him, because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. But Jesus answered them, My Father works here, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but he said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. Then Jesus answered and said to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, the Son of Man can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do. For what things he does, these also the Son does. For the Father loves the Son, and shows him all things that he does, and he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as the Father raises up the dead, and quickens them, even so the Son quickens whom he will. For the Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment to the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honors not the Son, honors not the Father that has sent him. Truly, I say to you, he that hears my word, and believes on him that sent me, has everlasting life, and will not come into condemnation, but is passed from death into life. Truly, truly, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear will live. For as the Father has life in himself, so has he given to the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the graves will hear his voice, and will come forth, they that have done good, to the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil, to the resurrection of damnation. I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father that has sent me. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. There is another that bears witness of me, and I know that the witness that he witnesses of me is true. You sent to John, and he bare witness to the truth. But I receive not the testimony from man, but these things I say, that you might be saved. He was a burning and shining light, and you were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. But I have greater witness than that of John, for the works that the Father has given me to finish, the same works that I do, bear witness of me. that the Father has sent me. And the Father himself that has sent me has borne witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape, and you have not his word abiding in you. For whom he has sent, him you believe not. Search the Scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me, that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of God in you. I am come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another will come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe, which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from God only? Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how will you believe my words? After these things Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, that is, the Sea of Tiberias. And a great multitude followed him, because they saw his miracles that he did on them that were diseased. And Jesus went up into a mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. And the Passover, a feast of the Jews, was near. When Jesus then lifted up his eyes, and saw a great company come to him, he said to Philip, Where will we buy bread, that these may eat? And this he said to prove him, for he himself knew what he would do. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not sufficient for them, that every one of them may take a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, There is a lad here that has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes, but what are they among so many? And Jesus said, Make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down, in the number about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were set down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. When they were filled, he said to his disciples, Gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. Therefore they gathered them together, and filled 12 baskets with fragments of 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above to them that had eaten. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, This is of a truth that prophet that should come into the world. When Jesus therefore perceived they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone. And when even was now come, his disciples went to the sea, and entered into a ship, and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. So when they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea, and drawing near to the ship, and they were afraid. But he said to them, It is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land where they went. The day following, when the people that stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there, save that one where his disciples were entered, and that Jesus went not with the disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. Howbeit there came other boats from Tiberias, near to the place where they did eat, after that the Lord had given thanks. When the people therefore saw that Jesus was not there, neither his disciples, they also took shipping, and came to Capernaum, seeking for Jesus. And when they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said to him, Rabbi, when did you come here? Jesus answered them and said, Truly, truly I say to you, you seek me, not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves, and were filled. Labor not for the meat that perishes, but for the meat that endures to everlasting life, that the Son of Man will give to you. For him has God the Father sealed. Then they said to him, What will we do, that we might work the works of God? Jesus answered and said to them, This is the work of God, that you believe on him whom he has sent. They said therefore to him, What sign do you show then, that we may see and believe you? What do you work? Our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written, He gave them bread from heaven to eat. Then Jesus said to them, Truly, truly I say to you, Moses gave you not that bread from heaven, but my Father gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he that comes down from heaven, and gives life to the world. Then they said to him, Lord, evermore give us this bread. And Jesus said to them, I am the bread of life. He that comes to me will never hunger, and he that believes on me will never thirst. But I said to you, that you also have seen me, and believe not. All that the Father gives me will come to me, and him that comes to me I will in no wise cast out. For I came down from heaven, not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will that has sent me, that of all which he has given me I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one that sees the Son and believes on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. The Jews then murmured at him, because he said, I am the bread that came down from heaven. And they said, Is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he says, I came down from heaven? Jesus therefore answered and said to them, Murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me, except the Father that has sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they will be taught of God. Every man therefore that has heard and has learned of the Father comes to me. Not that any man has seen the Father, save he which is of God. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly I say to you, he that believes on me has everlasting life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, and are dead. This is the bread that comes down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he will live forever. And the bread that I will give him is my flesh, that I will give for the life of the world. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Jesus said to him, Truly, truly I say to you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man, and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoso eats my flesh, and drinks my blood, has eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is indeed meat, and my blood is indeed drink. He that eats my flesh, and drinks my blood, dwells in me, and I in him. As the living Father has sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eats me, even he will live by me. This is that bread that came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna, and are dead. He that eats of this bread will live forever. These things he said in the synagogue, as he taught in Capernaum. Many therefore of his disciples, when they had heard this, said, This is a hard saying. Who can hear it? When Jesus knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said to them, Does this offend you? What and if you will see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Spirit that quickens. The flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak to you, they are spirit, and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. For Jesus knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, and who should betray him. And he said, Therefore I said to you, that no man can come to me, except it were given to him of my Father. From that time many of his disciples went back, and walked no more with him. Then Jesus said to the 12, Will you also go away? Then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom will we go? You have the words of eternal life. And we believe and are sure that you are that Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus answered them, Have I not chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? He spoke of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for it was he that should betray him. being one of the 12.